Hey, welcome back to my channel. And today we're going to be making this nice, moist, fluffy banana bread. And if you want to know how I achieve this, and if you want to achieve it as well, which I really hope you do, stay tuned and we're going to make this very dope recipe together. And I promise you, you will love it. I'm going to be making banana bread. As you can see, I have the ingredients. I have 1 cup of milk, a teaspoon of vanilla extract. I have 1 single egg, and in this bowl it is baking powder and baking soda. This is a half a cup of melted butter. I like to melt my butter. You could just use soft butter. And I have a half a cup of brown sugar. I make mine half sweet. I do not like sweet things, surprisingly, and I'm making banana bread. But I like using brown sugar versus white sugar. And this is 1.5 cups of butter. And I have over here, I have 4 bananas that's ready, ripe, and ready to go. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna move these out of the way. And the reason why the milk is solid, I'm using canned milk actually, so that's why. Now there's 2 ways that you can match these bananas, and I'm gonna show you both ways. Depending on my mood, I pick. There's more than 2 ways you can mash these bananas. After you get the 4 large bananas, you don't have to use 4, you can use 3, but after you get the 4 large bananas, what you want to do is remove this. You could use a fork, and you could go in with a fork and you could crush. This does take a little bit longer, but like I said, depends on my mood, and depends on how ripe the bananas are. If bananas are really ripe, like you see that end was really ripe, I would definitely go in with a fork and just smash away. However, and if I got time for that, I'm gonna use a potato masher or squasher, whatever it's called, and I'm just gonna go in and squash these bad boys, just like so. And I'm not really gonna be squashing it out that much because as I'm adding things to it, I'm gonna be beating it. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm actually gonna take the egg, I crack it on the side, and I am dumping it in. I like to look for this little nugget. So from this point going forward in this video, we're going to be doing a voiceover because it turns out that the song that was playing in my background have some copyright infringement. And y'all, this is my second video. I'm definitely not trying to get in trouble, at least not right now. So what we did was we mixed the egg and the vanilla extract in with the bananas, and we just want to make sure all those ingredients are incorporated with each other. Now, you do not have to overwork yourself when it comes to blending out the bananas because the more ingredients you add in, the more you'll whisk it together and the more your bananas will blend out. I like to use coconut milk, and that's what I'm adding to this right now. However, you could use whatever milk of your choice. So you could use oat milk, almond milk, or whole milk, cow's milk, whichever milk you like. You could go ahead and use that. I just prefer to use coconut milk, and I prefer the thicker consistency, so a full fat coconut milk, because I personally find that it gives the richer taste. Like, I've tried using half fat coconut milk, and a half fat coconut milk is when it's half water and half coconut milk. A full fat coconut milk is when it's all just solid, just coconut milk. And I find that when it is full fat coconut milk, it does give it a richer taste, and it does make a big difference when it comes to the full body of your banana bread, I find. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna whisk those ingredients together. and make sure it's well incorporated. And then after that, we're gonna add melted butter. So I melt my butter. I honestly don't know why I melt my butter. You don't have to melt your butter. You could use softened butter, but I go ahead and I melt mine and let it cool. Well, I melt mine and I let it cool down before I add it into my before I add it in with the rest of my ingredients. Y'all, I'm not going back to edit this. It is what it is. So I actually use a vegan butter. So it's vegan and it's soy-free butter. I try to limit my intakes of dairy unless it's ice cream. If it's ice cream, I go ham because that's my weakness. So I'm gonna put the name of the video, the butter in the video because I can't remember right now. But yeah. So I set my wet ingredients aside and I work on my dry ingredients separately, and then at the end I blend them all together. I find it's easier that way. So I'm going to add the baking soda and the baking powder in with the flour, and then just make sure that is well incorporated and well mixed together before I go ahead and add in the sugar. Now you can use whatever sugar you want. You can use white sugar, it doesn't have to be brown sugar. You can use white sugar, you can use stevia. And actually, if you don't want to use any sugar, you can actually use honey. Yep, you can use honey, or you could even use applesauce if you don't want to use any sugar. But I use brown sugar and I use a half a cup. You can use more than a half a cup. I don't like sweet things, so I use a half a cup. If I'm making this for my friends, I'll use 1 cup because they like it like that. I don't know why they're weird, but I don't like sugar, so I use a half a cup. However, if my bananas were riper, is riper a word? I don't know, but we're using it today. So if my bananas were riper, I would actually use less. So maybe like a 1/4 cup of sugar, because the more ripe your bananas are, the sweeter it is. And I find that if your bananas are already that sweet, you don't really need to be adding more sweet to it. That's just how I look at it, because again, I don't like sweet things. I don't know what it is. I bake a lot, but I don't like sweet things. It's weird, guys. Just go with it. So after I mix my dry ingredients, what I'm gonna do, I'm actually gonna add the dry ingredients in with the wet ingredients. I personally find that it blends better and I'm able to work it in better when I mix the dry with the wet as opposed to mixing the wet with the dry. I use that technique when I'm baking anything or when I am making a dough. I always mix the dry ingredients together, mix the wet ingredients together, and then blend in the dry with the wet. I don't know why, but it works easier. If you haven't tried, try it and thank me later. Okay? So we're gonna go ahead and make sure that we blend everything in, like all the flour, all the dry ingredients in with the wet ingredients. And this is what I was saying at the beginning, that you don't have to beat out your bananas so much at the beginning, because the more things you add in, the more you're whisking, and then you'll be able to beat out your bananas a lot more. And like I was saying in the beginning of the video, guys, that you don't need to use too much energy or worry too much about is your bananas beat out to the right consistency, because the more ingredients you put in, as you keep on putting ingredients, you will have to whisk the ingredients together to incorporate it with the bananas. So by the end of it all, you will have your banana beaten out to the consistency of your choice. And it's banana bread. It doesn't have to be smooth. A little chunks in your banana bread isn't gonna hurt anyone. However, if you are a person who's big on texture, then you may want to whisk it out a little bit more. If you don't care about the texture, then a little chunk is okay. If you want it to be chunkless, but you can't seem to get that by whisking it, you could always put your banana in a food processor or a blender, or use a handheld mixture thingy mabobber. You could definitely do that. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna get a bacon tin. Use whichever one you want to use, and we're gonna grease the tin, and I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna line it with parchment paper. Now, I like to line mine with parchment paper because it's easier to remove it. You could do one or the other, or you could just do both like I do. So when I line it like that, I could just grab the ends and then just pick it up, and it's just easy to take it out. So easy. It's life changing for me to be honest with you. So what I'm gonna do is just pour everything in and then wiggle it around to make sure there's no air bubbles or air pockets in it, and then we're gonna toss this bad boy in the oven. Be right back. And voila, this is the finished product. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. It really means a lot. Let me know if you try this recipe out, if you add anything to it like chocolate chips, almonds, or anything like that. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay happy, stay blessed, and stay healthy. Bye now.